Today, we're really going to get into GDPR as it relates to the individual object. I know from a Salesforce standpoint, there's badges. From a GDPR standpoint, security is an awesome topic. Privacy is an awesome topic. We love talking about it. It's a lot of fun. And so today, we're going to really focusing on shields. Sir Robin, Sir Galahad, the Pure. Sir Lancelot, the Brave. The Wise Sir Bedivere. Yeah, I do that every time. We've initially focused on the top two areas, privacy by design and accountability and taking responsibility for people's privacy. And so from a Salesforce standpoint, that really related to Salesforce Shield. So today, part two, individual rights and control, consent management, the right to be forgotten, data portability. That's what we're really going to be rolling into details on.
It's a new standard object, and it serves as a centralized representation of a data subject and their privacy preferences. The object kind of ships with some basic tracking fields and things like that, but it's extendable, just like any other standard object. There are some limitations because it's a new feature and it's new to the market, but it shows that Salesforce is really taking this seriously. And as time goes on, I think we can all know that they will build out on this and enhance some of its capabilities. And at its core, really what it allows you to do is associate other records in your Salesforce instance around this one kind of common central record that basically says this person exists and these are all the data points I have around it. It's powerful for a lot of reasons. When those requests for portability or erasure come in, you've now got a place to look to say, okay, well, what do I even have? We put together a quick little picture to kind of talk about the hub that I was just talking about, right? So let's imagine a case where you've got, you know it, man.
Emmett,
Oh, Emmett, we love it. But so you've got Sir Lancelot, right? He's a contact, and he works at Camelot LLC. That's a limited liability castle, I think is what they call it. But then on another day, maybe Sir Lancelot is hunting around and trying to gather some additional information via your marketing automation tools or another way. You've got Sir Lancelot again as a lead, right? So now you've got two. And then, let's say he gets a new job. He goes and works at Castle of Argyrd, right? And then, again, he comes in through another form and your dupe management isn't tailored quite close enough to get there. And then maybe you've got your org set up to kind of serve as a back end for your website, and you store your website user information there as well so that you can manage passwords and things like that from your service desk. So now you've got this like wealth of information about Sir Lancelot, but it's all disjointed and it's all over the place. And so the purpose of the individual object is to really serve as this unifying central kind of hub for that information. With that in mind, let's say, okay, so what are we going to do? How do we actually use this thing, right? So first thing you need to do is enable the object in general. So it's available in Spring 18, but it's not on by default. It's not available by default inside your org. So you're going to need to go into setup and go to the data protection and privacy settings and really just hit that edit button, hit that checkbox and hit save. And ta-da, now you have the individual object that's available to you. By default, it will automatically add lookups to the lead, contact, and person account objects if you have person accounts enabled. But you'll need to go manually add it to the page layouts. So just a quick heads up. And I always advise everybody to kind of check out the field level security really quick there too and make sure everybody can get to what they need to get to. So the next thing that we recommend is, you've got to extend and kind of customize it. So like any other standard object, you can add new custom fields, things like that. So I suggest you review the standard fields, and I've got a quick screenshot up here for you now. And, make sure that they really make sense. So some of these things aren't going to make sense to a lot of people. And some of these things you may not be prepared to truly adopt yet, like the forget this individual checkbox, right? Those are things that you can leverage down the road, but for now, consider minimizing the fields on the page layout to the things that you actually do care about, and maybe adding in some additional fields if you need to. The other thing we recommend pretty much everybody do is basically rename the object. A lot of people, individual can be very confusing in their org, and so I just threw a quick screenshot up. You'll need to go to the rename tabs and labels section of setup, and you can go rename it to whatever you want. Data subject is what we see a lot of people land on. Cool. Make sense? Cool. So the next step in your kind of path, I don't know where you have these pictures on it. I love them. But so the next step in this sort of path to enabling, the individual object is really like you've got to know your privacy baseline. So you need to get together with the people inside your organization and think about, okay, so here's the things we want to track, and then what's the default, right? We always talk about privacy by design, right? So by default, you want to start from somewhere that is more secure or more private. So things like block geolocation, and is it okay to store PII data elsewhere? You may decide that you want to check those by default or not check them by default. These are standard fields that we're talking about here, so you may need to get into Apex workflow rules to kind of make sure you enforce those defaults. And just a quick note, Process Builder is not yet supported for this object. And I bolded yet intentionally, right? So like I said, Salesforce has been very vocal about the fact that this is an object that is at the core of the system, core of the platform, and some of the limitations that may exist at this time, I am sure that they are addressing in the very near future. So cool. Make sure you know what your privacy baseline is. Cool. All right. So the next thing we like to do, make sure we do, especially when we do this like as a workshop with our GDPR clients, is really look at the entire org and say, what objects are people, right? And so in this case, we've highlighted our custom object we talked about earlier. And so it can be easy to forget that it's not just contacts and leads, right? And or person accounts, depending on your org, for everybody. You got to take in the whole scope of what's going on in your org. So once you've got a firm handle on kind of where people live inside your org, you just need to go make sure that you add lookup relationships to each of those objects back to the individual object. You can add that lookup relationship from pretty much anything in your org. So you can start to kind of build that universe a little more holistically, which is great. Cool. One thing I added the asterisk there. Don't forget to update the page layout. That's like happens all the time. You go add the field and you forget to go actually add it to the page layout and make sure people can actually see the field. So field level security, page layout, basic, kind of Salesforce admin stuff that's easy to forget when you're running through these things. And what is this, Brian?
Many folks may know about the bunny and there's only a rabbit and all that holy grail, but it's really an important concept. And for me, the way that I interpret this is it doesn't matter what tactics you use if you have the wrong strategy. And so make sure you've got the right strategy and make sure you've got the right people and constituents on the bus that inform and validate that strategy before you start going down and chasing a bunch of tactics and doing things. Because you can do a lot of stuff, you can spin a lot of wheels, but if you don't align to what the business objective is and why you're doing it with the right constituents, you're going to miss a boat or maybe not kill a rabbit.
That's a really good point. I thought we were having like a now for something completely different moment. But yeah, no, that's good. Wow, you actually had really smart things to say.
Yeah, good one, Emmett.
That was good. Cool. So back to our regular scheduled programming.
Thank you.
So just a couple more quick steps, although this one is the meat and potatoes, right? And so this step 6 can be challenging. So this is somewhere where you really want to, you got to know your data. You got to work very closely with your information. And the general idea is you've got to go figure out that those, 5 Sir Lancelots are the same person and generate the individual objects. And at this point right now, there isn't a quick and easy answer that I have for you on how to do this. We're working on a lot of things here at RevCall to be able to help with this. On our services side, we leverage a lot of internal tooling that we've built. We're trying to figure out ways that we can make that more available to other folks. This is a challenge, but regardless of how you decide to manage this kind of consent opportunity, you're going to have a challenge here of associating all that information. And so we do it as part of our workshops that we do, and we talk through all those processes. But start thinking early about how you're going to do that. Back to Brian's point about planning, right? And then also just plan to maintain this. And this is probably really obvious to most people, but make sure that, okay, you got everything all nice and pretty and you've got all your individual records created and everybody's all associated, great. And then 5 minutes later, you've got a new record showing up, right? So make sure that you've got a plan for that. And at a minimum, what we recommend is that folks build out some reports and dashboards that look for, say, leads without individuals, custom object X without individuals, and build a dashboard that you can at least monitor. That won't fix your problem, but it will help you monitor it. And then this slide has 2 key points. The first one is new data pops up all the time. Now Sir Lancelot works for us, right? But the other key point here is a lot of people forget that users are people. Users are data subjects, right? And so there's a very good chance that Sir Lancelot may leave your organization at some point, and you may have to address requests for portability and things like that. So don't forget about the user object.
So let's go to our favorite time. We've got great reviews for hat time. Want to bring that over?
Hat guy coming through.
Hat guy
coming
through. All right. And so for those that know, we give away 2 hats. Hopefully this was useful. Hopefully you got some good content that's actionable. One, educational and also actionable that you can take back to your organizations and start to continue to move the needle. Good luck on your path to privacy. Enjoy the day. Have a great night, and we'll connect again soon.